Hello and welcome again to another video here on Security in Mind. Today we're going to talk about the syllabus or the curriculum, whatever you want to call it, for my penetration testing bootcamp that I'm going to create really soon. So I finally agreed with a syllabus that I'm going to present to you now. It's going to be the finalized one, but there are room for some small nudging, some maneuvers to change the topic over time. So let me just show you what I came up to. I have these 19 steps that the course is going to be about. So let me just show the first page again. This is going to be a pen testing bootcamp from a Linux point of view. So I'm not going to be covering anything Windows-ish. So stuff like, Windows privilege, escalation and stuff like that is not going to be a part of this pen testing course. Now, I want to keep it to Linux for now. So the very first part of it, I'm going to start with an introduction video, of course. Then we're going to talk about the essential information security terminologies, which is going to be stuff like, different kind of words and short terms, how to think about, the whole security aspect and different kind of things to raise your awareness towards the idea of that you're not safe and there are many hackers out there that are going to test your integrity and confidentiality and probably also availability for your service, which is why we're going to talk about the CIA trial afterwards. Now, the CIA trial is very important to understand why it is a CIA, confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Of course, there are other kind of security goals to that. So that is why we have an extended talk about more on security goals, because there are going to be a lot more different kind of security goals we can talk about. Stuff like accountability, for example. It's not a part of the CIA trial, but it is also a very important security goal. Stuff like multi-factor authentication is also a security goal. So of course, we're going to talk about different various ones. I'm going to give you a big list of goals. I'm going to talk about a few of them, and the rest of it is going to be for you to explore. Now, then we're going to talk about the whole thing about hacking in context. So, hacking in context is going to be about how will you actually conduct your pen test. With that, we're going to cover the thing in pen testing methodologies. So different kind of approaches to the actual hack. There are different kind of testing methodologies, frameworks you can use from OWASP and different kind of ones. You can also just buy a book. And what you probably will see is that something about reconnaissance, scanning, exploitation, persistence, and cover your tracks. Most typical 5 steps you see, which is going to be somewhat the same no matter how we're going to conduct it, because it is a logical approach. It's a very illogical approach is to start exploiting something before you did reconnaissance, which is why we're going to take it step by step in this tutorial here, Pen Test Lab. So we're also going to talk about where you're going to do your pen testing practice, because there are different approaches to this. Now, I'm going to use a variety of different kind of, online free stuff, some paid subscription stuff of somewhere. I might bring in Hack the Box or Try Hack Me or OS Juice Shop, different kind of web pages to prove a point on how things work. Now, after that, we talked about how to create your own pen test lab or where to hack. We're going to talk about information gathering, so that's going to be different kind of tools to do OSINT, for example, different kind of tools to explore how you're going to gather information from people accounts. It could be Facebook accounts, it could be Twitter accounts, it could just be you want to find something, some good information about stuff from a company. We're going to talk about information gathering in more detail. Vulnerability research after that is going to be a part of how to actually conduct the exploit. So what you're going to do about the things you find, how will you find a vulnerability. There are different various ways you can do that, and we're going to cover stuff that is something that you can find and do. Now, stuff like buffer overflow and stuff might come in the future, but that's going to be in bonus content, which is why the bonus content and the extra and below, they could probably be one, but I kept them there for now. They're going to be filled out with stuff marked as bonus content and will be extended on the go. So first of all, I'm going to cover different topics I already have here, and then I'm going to extend it slowly. At some point I might rearrange the whole course, but that time will come at some point. Then I'm gonna cover the part called scanning, which is a really big part if you're gonna do some information gathering afterwards, because scanning is really an active act you're gonna do. Of course, we're gonna cover stuff like Nmap, different kind of Nmap scans. We're gonna cover stuff like GoBuster, DBuster. You know, we might even look at burp proxy, because there's also different kind of tools in burp proxies that can conduct what you would consider as scanning. We also look for other kind of programs to conduct scanning for us, and might even shed a light to different kind of less known tools, just to try something different. If we can find the time in bonus content at some point, I'm going to do my own Python scripts, so bonus content will extend a lot in the future. Web-based vulnerability is going to be step 11. So after you did some vulnerability research, read about it, you did some scanning, you know, you can choose some people might do scanning before they do vulnerability research, but I would bake it different, that if you did a really good information gathering, you would know what kind of things they have already. Well, unless they really hit it in some way, then you need to do scanning before you can find something. But vulnerability research is something you kind of need to do on different kind of stages, and you have to redo it after scanning, before scanning, and maybe revisit it at some point. So it doesn't really matter when you have it, it's the whole course that matters. Finding web-based vulnerabilities is going to be more about, you know, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, crossover case forgery, and stuff like that. So we're gonna look at different kind of vulnerabilities, you know, also cookies, of course, and whatever I can find, I'm gonna put in there. Now, there's a certain reason that I haven't put any subtopics to it at the moment, because I want to keep it open in a way so that I can put stuff in on the go whenever it is needed. The actual exploitation is probably going to be a really short video, because it is just click and go, or fire it off or something like that. But of course, I would need to do some sort of demonstration, and I would probably pick some rooms on TryHackMe or different kind of web pages to demonstrate it, because I do not have a fully fledged hacking lab, and it's going to take a lot of time to put it together. So I'm going to use different kind of, you know, materials that I can find that is truthful enough to be reflecting the real world and the scenario that we can use in the videos. After that, let's talk about Linux privilege escalation. Now, the reason that I said privilege escalation for Linux is because that this course is not covering Windows in any part. Now, many of the things you learn can be directly transferable to Windows exploitation, because if you know how to do vulnerability research or information gathering, you know, scanning, it's going to be somewhat the same. It is more or less the exploitation part and system exploitations and escalation that's going to be different for Windows, but web-based stuff, it's somewhat the same. Of course, there's some differences from path and some stuff like that. You're going to learn that at some point. But in you know, when you think about the whole full picture, you know, it's going to be easier for you to start with one platform like Linux, because it's a bit more arranged, you can say. After that, we're going to talk about typical exploits. We're going to pick some typical exploits you can find of different kind of, you know, operating systems, and you're probably going to look at some pseudo exploit that's going to be typical, something you can always just have in your arsenal you can fire off. So that's going to be covered in typical exploits. After that, let's talk about password hacking. Now, we all know that password hacking is something you're going to do at some point, probably after you got access, or maybe you have some leaked passwords. So after you did some information gathering in point number 8, for example, you could find some leaked passwords on some, you know, paste bin or wherever that someone pasted them or put them. Of course, you would need to do some password hacking, and the whole thing about when you're going to do password hacking is really whenever it is needed. But I had to put it somewhere, and I felt it would be put there, because this is not a direct video about password hacking, but more something about the whole idea of pen testing as a whole unit. Alright, so after that, you need to learn about how to document a pen test, because there are different ways you can do it, and I'm gonna show you, you know, 1 or 2 ways, the ones that I find most interesting and you know, useful. Of course, it's gonna be with keeping in mind that I'm located in Europe, Denmark, so probably not going to be the same for Americans, you know, or other places in the world. So please bear in mind that these kind of techniques I'm going to show and do for documenting a pen test might differ in your country, law-wise and stuff like that. Now, the last point, keep calls what's next. And I'm going to suggest different kind of things here about what could be a great path for you to go on. And the extra content is going to be probably locked to something that I've figured out is going to be there as extras. And the bonus content is something going to be expanding over time. So whenever I decide to do a new topic or expand the course with something, it's going to be in bonus content. When the bonus content is going to be too big, I'm going to rearrange the whole things and put them in order and then, you know, present a new syllabus like this, and hopefully, you know, within, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to record all this. As I'm speaking right now, the video, when I upload it on YouTube, I have no video so far recorded, but you know, I'm going to start slowly and probably gonna release a video here and there, you know, and in the end, you know, if you follow my channel, we will have a full pen testing bootcamp. Alright, so I really hope you like what you see, and I hope to see you online. Follow my course, the Pen Testing Bootcamp Road. I had a few questions I want to answer, and one of them is, can I get a certificate for this? Sadly, it is not something that I can give you a certificate for, because I am not a company. I have no weight in the industry. So yes, I could take some paper, you know, on Word and just write my name on it and say like, you completed this, but I have no tasks, I have no way to do a certificate. So really, it's just gonna be, I cannot give you a certificate. It's gonna be a free course for you to follow, and you can learn a lot. And if you want to earn a certificate, might want to go ahead and look for the CompTIA Pentest Plus or the OSCP or whatever course you might need that be a bit more known in the industry. Other questions I had just recently is, I'm sorry, but I cannot help you with hacking for you. It is illegal to do that, so please bear in mind that even though that I teach you different kind of hacking things, it is ethically, I mean it all the way, it's an ethical hacking course, and I cannot control what you can do with the knowledge, you know, the same way we're gonna trust each other. But this is for you, so you can learn it and hopefully use it in the company where you work, and to share your knowledge and make the world a safer place. This is the whole idea about this course and the whole idea about my channel. So I want to say thank you for listening, and we'll see you again online, and have a really nice day.